I'm talking to Clive and Carole Sadler from the Nairne Museum, and your opening was today. How did it go?
I think it went really well.
I think it went fantastic.
We had a good turnout. It stopped raining for us right at the right time.
The rain held off, but beautiful timing. That was good.
Yes.
No, it went very well, I think. And we've had some very good feedback about the museum. It was our first attempt at a museum, and one of the things we find, I think, is we look at it and we sort of think, I wonder if people will be impressed by this. And we're so familiar with what's going on there that it no longer impresses us. But when people come in who've never seen it before, I sort of think they'll probably be impacted quite differently. And sure enough, that's what happened. A number of people came up to me afterwards and said, "Well, it's a fantastic display there. I haven't seen most of those things." So that was very pleasing.
I hadn't even thought of it that way before.
To you guys, as Clive said, it's been going on for years and years and years. The rest of us are coming in and seeing it as brand new and really fantastic. It's sort of come on us all at once. I'm impressed.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
What sort of places have you got some of the museum displays from? Have they all been brought in by locals? Have you had to put them together yourself?
Well, it's a bit of a mixture. We had a basic collection that Mick Murphy had put together, and had been added to over the years with bits and pieces. And they did the article in the paper 2 or 3 weeks ago. That stirred a few people up, and the washing machine and butter churn out there, for example, came from a lady at Aldgate who'd seen the article in the paper and rang Nick, curator, up and said, "Would you be interested?" So he went and fetched them, and sure enough, we now got them on display. It needed a little bit of repair, but nothing serious.
We were lucky actually, because with the Weekender and then the Courier both doing articles, people have then started ringing and saying, "Oh, I've got such and such, would you like that?" And it's like, "Oh yes, please." Yeah, we'll take that. So
we did some searches on eBay and found some stuff on eBay that was just sitting doing nothing somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people were, we had to buy those, but they were overly expensive.
And we did go out and purchase some things.
And yes.
So that,
Nick went on a big tour and went around up as far as Port Adelaide one direction, Strath the other, and found a lot of stuff out there, which was very relevant stuff. And so we bought some stuff from second-hand shops and that, which fitted in beautifully.
Oh, great.
So the whole range of ways we've collected it.
Don't want to have to go out and buy. It was just so that we had a good collection to open up today. But I think now people will see that there is somewhere where they can bring their things and it will be looked after. Grandma's got something in the shed, and now they'll probably think, "Oh, I know where we can take that," and other people can then see it.
It's surprising actually. The photos are a good example too.
Photos are great.
Because I've been collecting these for years now. And before Murphy's Deli closed, I went in there one day, and the guy there said to me, he said, "Are you collecting photos?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, I've got a few here," and comes up with a few photos. And when it was Mick Murphy's centenary tea rooms and things like that, So, and back to the 40s, I think I've got photos of it, and the District Hotel. Rodney there. He said, "Well, I've got a couple of old photos," and so I've got some good old photos of that District Hotel back in the 40s when all the trucks were lined up, when this was the Princess Highway, of course, Sydney Road, and the trucks would get to Nairne and they'd all pull up outside the pub and have lunch or whatever, and so there's all these trucks parked all on the front, and so I've collected a number of photos.
So there's more photos and more things that will start making their way into the museum.
I've got more photos on the computer than I've got there. I haven't got room to display them all. That's the trouble. A couple of people have said to me, "What about that? What about such and such a room in Elizabeth Street and the old Bythorn farm?" And I said, "I don't have room to display them here, so I'm going to have to rethink the display. Maybe take some of the new photos out and put more of the old ones in, Because people will come there and they're looking for their house or that's where my granddad lives. They always gather around the photos. It's surprising, even though it's not a sort of museum type articles in this normal sense. They love looking at the photos.
With the stuff that you have on display, are you looking for things specifically from the Nairne area? I know you mentioned going far and wide to gather some of these things.
Well, I think obviously we're focusing, if we can, on Nairne
and the district
items, but and the district, because you can't cut Nairne off Because, I mean, Bracunga and Dorsley have always been very closely related to Nairne.
Yeah.
And back in the early days, of course, they were in the mine. The guys there would come in and descend upon the two pubs here on a Saturday night and have a bit of a wild time, you know. So this was very much a part of their life. And what we want to do, as well as things that are specifically Nairne, is to collect items that were in general use and would have been used in Nairne. I mean, for example, things to do with agriculture. I mean, there weren't things here specifically to do with Nairne, other than things that might have been to do with the subterranean clover, for example. And we're hoping to get hold of a couple of the rakes that Amos Howard used to use.
Oh, fantastic.
And because he grew specifically subterranean clover. But there are other things. Well, like when the railway came up here, you know, we've got those big spanners. Now, they weren't necessarily used in Nairne, but they were typical of the spanners that were used on maintaining the locomotives and laying the tracks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, there wouldn't be anything around, any spanners around that says these were used in Nairne on them. But as long as we can put something there that is typical or very similar to those that were used locally, we're actually showing what the history, what the activities were in that historical sense. So.
What we're thinking about doing is, because it's little and we have things that we haven't got out today, and because we're going to be collecting more now, we're hoping to then be able to rotate through displays.
Yes.
So we might take a theme, it might be monthly or bi-monthly, say, and just off the top of my head, like I was thinking, so you'd pick April and you might do an RSL theme and take all the things that have been donated about the war. And then you might do May, which is Red Cross calling. You might do something about the Red Cross.
Yeah.
Bracunga was founded in June. June we might do something on Bracunga, you know. And so even if it's not in the 2 rooms, even if we just have 1 room where we just rotate through displays. So then, it's getting the stuff out on display, but then it's always fresh for people to come back to continually have a look.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yes. And we've also got that, we put that empty cabinet out there, inviting people, if they've got any stuff at home and would like to do it, we'll put it in there and we'll put an acknowledgement on top. This was a loan for the period by so-and-so. And so we're hopefully we'll pick up some stuff like that, which people don't want to actually give away, but might be happy to display for a couple of months, you know.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things, but we have got, as Carole says, we've got a limited amount of space. We've got 4 more of those small display cabinets sitting in the back room here that we haven't got anything in, but we haven't, at the moment, we haven't got anywhere to put them either.
Yeah.
We did have some in. So we've got to think about how we're going to lay the place out. We may have to try and make room for a few more cabinets if we get more stuff. But yeah, that's just part of it. And, we might just have to build on the back and...
Well, that's it. And see, we've got that little bit of land out the back. So it would be great if we did get like a big piece of farm machinery or something like that. There's no reason why we can't have that because we do have some land there that we could put it in.
The thought I had was similar to that. Was that, of course, we got the big metal things like the chaff cutter and things of that nature. If we built another shed up there, for example, we could put all that sort of heavy stuff in there, and if there's a piece of agricultural machinery, we can put all that up there, give us a bit more room here, take that big table out and put more of the display cabinets with the other items in it. So we've got a fair bit of flexibility. But,
And it sounds like it'll be worth a visit regularly
Yes.
throughout
Exactly,
the year.
yeah.
You know, you won't have to just say, I've done the Nairne Museum,
Yeah,
I
that's
won't
right.
do it again.
No.
It'll be, it's a new month, there's a new display,
Yeah.
time to go back again.
Yeah.
Well, we can put a notice out at the front here, have a notice board there saying what this next month's or 2 months display is, so that
Great.
people can see that. Yeah.
And on the radio.
And on the radio.
And
on
of course.
Hills
Listen,
Radio.
And on the radio,
Hills
of
Radio.
course, yes.
88.9.
Well done.
See, I know. I listen to it.
Good.
Yeah, I do.
With a bit of luck,
And then each
we'll
Sunday.
keep opening it on
Yeah.
each Sunday, and we'll just see what the demand is. You know, I mean, if people are coming around during the week saying, look, we can't get here on the weekend, but and we'll look at opening it maybe one at Wednesday afternoon or something like that, just for a couple of hours initially,
Okay.
Yeah.
and we'll be guided by the demand.
And by the number of volunteers we can get.
And
So you need more volunteers.
Yes,
Oh,
always
yes.
more volunteers.
yes, oh yes, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, and they don't have to like join a committee. They could just come
No.
and
Just come in and,
you know,
and be here.
Be here
Yeah.
for a couple of hours a month. That's it. You know.
And we'll give them an outline of the history, so they'll be in a position to either answer questions, basic questions, or we may have a place where you can go to look something up. You know, have a filing cabinet out there and maybe be able to look things up. You know, because we've got a lot of stuff there.